What's up, guys? This video is about self-doubt and how to view it and actually deal with self-doubt. And I know a lot of people actually struggle with this because in the past I used to struggle with it a lot. I used to really question myself and doubt myself due to childhood beliefs and stuff like that, which really affected me, and it definitely decreases your frequency and allows you to fall back into that old version of yourself, and that's what I'm about to get into. So the way self-doubt works is you need to understand that self-doubt, anxiety, overthinking, guilt, all of these things are just tricks of the old frequency. And when I say tricks, I'm not saying this to demonize your old frequency. Your old frequency isn't out to get you, okay? You need to just understand when I say tricks, it's just a technique the old frequency deploys because it feels threatened, and it's not an emotional thing. The old frequency isn't this, like, again, this thing that you're battling against. It's just the old version of yourself, and it just wants energy from you. I want you to understand that, and that's something that took me a long time to understand. It just wants energy from you. That's anything. That's all it wants. It's just a pendulum. It's just an egregore. It's just an entity wanting energy. The same thing with limiting beliefs. The reason why it will still come in your mind, even though you're aware of it and it's detaching from it, you don't need to fight it because that's feeding it energy. You don't need to fight the old frequency. You don't need to fight the self-doubt. You don't need to fight the negative thoughts. You just need to allow them to pass and ignore, and over time they will stop happening. Because you're feeding them energy when you're doing those things, but when you allow them to pass, ignore it. Same when you ignore pendulums. If you read reality transurfing, you'll understand that's how you actually defeat them. So the word, all it is just a trick that's deployed by the old frequency to essentially try and bring you back down to the old frequency. Because what will happen is when you're making progress, when things are going really well, you're like, oh, why am I feeling so much self-doubt? Why am I feeling so much anxiety? Why am I feeling so much guilt? It's because the old frequency is like, oh my god, this version you've raised your frequency. You're a new version of yourself now. You've maintained and you've entered that new frequency you've been trying to enter for so long, and it's like, oh shit, he's actually progressing. So it's thinking, oh, I need energy now, so I'm going to deploy things like self-doubt, anxiety, overthinking, guilt, these techniques, right, that will try and bring you back. Because the way it attaches itself back to you, the way you go back to the old frequency, is by using these emotions that you feel when you feel guilt and disappointment, perfectionism, self-doubt, that worry and anxiety. These types of emotions is how the old frequency attaches itself back to you. Because think about it, emotion is the largest shareholder of frequency, and when you're really in that state where you're anxious, self-doubt, guilt, these are low vibrational emotions. I don't know if low vibrational is the right word, but yeah, I would say it's low vibrational. It's a lower frequency, right, than a high frequency like positivity and gratitude, which allows it to attach itself back to you. So imagine these techniques that it's using are like a glue that's attaching you back to the old frequency. But there's a key thing here you need to understand. You need to be able to reframe this situation. Self-doubt is actually a good thing, and the problem is that you think that when you hit 10k, 100k a month, that self-doubt is going to disappear. I want you to understand that we all experience self-doubt. It's human nature. It's part of the cycle of things. You're always going to feel these emotions. Sometimes I still feel anxiety. I still sometimes feel self-doubt. It's just the way I deal with it is a lot different, okay? I deal with it a lot differently to how you would deal with it. I don't ruminate over it. I don't obsess over it. I just allow it to pass, and I view it as a good thing because it is a good thing. And let me explain. Essentially, self-doubt is just a signal that you're progressing. Like I said, it only happens when you're actually making progress. So when you're making progress, you understand that self-doubt is actually a signal of making progress. It means you've raised your frequency. It means you've entered a new frequency. It means you've shifted your lifelines, whatever term you want to call it. So when you can understand that, when you're experiencing like self-doubt, like, oh fuck, that means I'm progressing, that means what I'm doing is actually working, or instead of like, oh, is what I'm doing right, and then you go back to the first option just to play it safe and you enter the old frequency again, you actually understand that what you're doing is actually working. All the things you're doing is actually working, even if you can't see it on the physical realm, because the physical realm is just an illusion. You understand that it's going to materialize soon, and you already actually have it vibrationally, because you know that your frequency is being raised, because you're feeling the self-doubt, you're feeling the guilt, you're overthinking sometimes. And when you view it as a good thing, you're no longer subject to it, in a sense where it's like, oh, why am I feeling self-doubt? You're no longer questioning and battling it. You just understand that it's a good thing, and you allow it to happen. You allow it to pass, like I said, with the negative thoughts, and you know what I mean. And you need to understand that, like, it's a great thing when you can positively reframe not just this self-doubt but anything in life. Your life's going to become 10 times better, because your perspective on things is everything. So understand that the self-doubt is a great thing, and that you're actually progressing when you're doing it literally dissolves all the importance you've been placing on self-doubt. You need to remove the importance and understand that it's literally a sign of progress. You're doing good, bro. You've raised your frequency. So when you feel it, understand it's a good thing. Become grateful for it. You need to become grateful for these techniques that the old frequency is using. You need to actually become grateful for the old frequency. And it sounds crazy, and it's something I've learned a lot recently. I've hated my old self so much. I felt shame, I felt guilt, I felt afraid of being that old version of myself so much, where if I'd watch an old YouTuber like someone like KSI or the Sidemen, I'd feel like I would be my old self, because I would be afraid I would enter that frequency. I'd be afraid I'd be that version of myself. When you are not defined by the things you do, but the frequency you're in when you do it. That's why there's people who make millions who jack off 3 times a day, and some people might view that as low vibrational, they drink all day, because it's not about what you're doing, it's about the frequency and your opinion on the thing. Of course, if you think gooning is not going to make you less money, then goon, you know, like, personally, I don't want to do that, like, for health reasons, stuff like that, but you know what I mean, right? Yeah, I would literally be afraid of watching these YouTubers, because I feel like I'd enter my old frequency. But the thing is, you cannot be afraid of the old frequency, because that's, again, feeding it. It's just an entity trying to extract energy from you, and as long as you treat it with negative emotion and can't alchemize that into positive emotion, then it's always going to be with you, and you're always going to be afraid of it. So you need to understand that you need to become grateful for it, and you need to remove that shame. You need to understand that that was a necessity in your journey for you to evolve to where you are now, and to where you're going to be, into your higher self. It was necessary for you to go through all of those things, because then you wouldn't have learned these lessons. You wouldn't be the version of yourself that you are now. So you need to become grateful, and you need to understand that this was a stepping stone in your journey to be a new version of yourself. You need to love the old frequency. And it's crazy to think about, like, oh, we've had all those moments, those emotionally traumatic experiences where we were this old version of ourselves, which caused us to do this, what happened in our lives, right? These emotionally traumatic experiences. But you need to understand that you didn't know any better then. Give yourself some grace. You were a kid. You didn't know any better. Or maybe you weren't even a kid. You just didn't know the knowledge you know now. You weren't as aware. So it's okay. Forgive yourself. Forgive your old frequency. Instead of holding that hatred and that kind of regret, you need to just let go and look forward and look inwards, because holding that kind of regret and that shame is going to keep that old frequency with you forever, and you're going to be in a cycle of fear of entering that old frequency. You're not going to be able to live your life to its fullest. You're not going to be able to relax. And I'll give you an example for myself. I've been ill recently, and I've been ill a lot recently because I've been I think I've not really let myself rest when I do get ill, so my immune system's been weak. And I figured out why that was, because when I attached resting to my old frequency, if I wasn't working, or if I wasn't doing something productive, like meditating or working or something like that, and I was just doing nothing, I felt anxiety. And why did I feel anxiety? Because I attached my new self to these actions, like meditating, like working. But I also felt if I didn't do those things, because I attached them to my identity, then I would enter my old identity. But there is no old identity. Like, you have to kind of get rid of that notion that there is an old identity and that it's coming to get you, because it is just an energy thing. And when you ignore it and you kind of integrate it into yourself, you learn to love it and integrate it into you, understanding you are you. You are not the ego. You are not the identity. You're not your what the world's telling you to be. You are just you. You just are. You were just the observer. You were just the experiencer. You were just consciousness. You were just awareness. You understand that these things aren't what makes you you. Like, the things, the actions you do. So back to my story is, when I was resting, I wasn't actually resting mentally, and it didn't really allow me to relax. I couldn't, like, even if I wanted to watch TV while I was ill, which is perfectly normal, I can't do shit when I'm ill, I would feel some level of anxiety or guilt, and it was just me being afraid of being my old frequency, because I felt shame, I felt regret, I felt fear. And I've been really aware of that recently, and I've been reprogramming this consciously and unconsciously, you know what I mean? Little side note is, you need to not be attached to the healthy practices you use to become more aware, and understand that you are just awareness, and you are everything and nothing. You know what I mean? But also that the old frequency is not a bad thing, and you need to learn to love it. Another analogy my good friend told me was, it's just a little kid. It's just a little kid looking for guidance. It's all it knows is what it's been taught. And it's literally just like, if you were only taught to be anxious, and you were only taught to be angry, you're only taught to be guilt, then of course you're gonna act that way as a 6-year-old. So view that as like your inner child, kind of. There's loads of different analogies, loads of different ways you can look at it. Pendulums, old frequency, inner child, whatever you want. The shadow, it's your unconscious beliefs, whatever. You need to just be aware of it, and you need to kind of understand and forgive it, and give yourself grace, because you've been asleep longer than you've been awake. And when you understand that, it's just looking for guidance. The way you guide it is by showing it and feeling the gratitude for it, what it was never shown as you as a kid, and experiences that calibrate that old frequency. You can just kind of just show it, and it's kind of like a loving kind of situation, right? That's one way you can view it again. And another way is like, it's just darkness, the darkness inside of you, your shadow, the old frequency, whatever it is, the unconscious beliefs, whatever you want to call it. It's just looking for guidance. It's actually a teacher. When you feel it, I'm grateful when I feel that deep, dark anxiety, because I know I'm learning a lot about myself. I know this is the necessity for me to become more aware. The uncomfort, you need to become comfortable in the uncomfortable. And that's the true moments of growth, when you can feel that and not have the negative associated behaviors with that anxiety and anger, not run away from it. Feel the fear, feel these deep, dark emotions, and understand them, process them, because that's what they're asking to be. It's just your unconscious telling you that this needs to be processed. Those traumas need to be processed, and this needs to be felt. And when you do feel it, on the other side of that is a euphoria that you probably like never even felt before. I remember I was meditating the other day because I felt so much anxiety one day, and I was just laying on my bed staring at my ceiling for around like an hour, just meditating, kind of just eyes closed, just like allowing my thoughts to pass, and I felt an emotional release of just my eyes watering. It was insane. I've only ever felt it twice, but it was like so much catharsis where I was like, wow. And you know, like I really felt like I really released a lot of unconscious trauma, you know what I mean? And you need to learn a lot about yourself. That's one thing on my journey I'm really thinking about, like understanding myself. I just really crave awareness. I really just want to learn about and understand myself to the best of my own ability, because awareness is just a direct correlation of success. The more aware you are, the better you're going to be in life. The better your life's going to be, the better you're going to be in business, the better you're going to make money, the better you're going to have relationships, everything, the better relationship you're going to have with yourself. So that's really what I crave, just becoming the best version of myself, understanding myself, and awareness, and tying that back into self-doubt. So when you understand it's just the old frequency, which isn't a bad thing, it's not this thing to come out to get you that you need to battle with. Stop battling with the self-doubt, stop battling with the anxiety, stop battling with the guilt. Just understand that it's just the old frequency and view it as a great thing, and become grateful for that and grateful for the old frequency. Because in the beginning it was like, oh, I'm grateful for the self-doubt, but I was like, oh, fuck the old frequency, fuck that guy. But it's me. Everything, there's like a million different versions of me, and they're all me. I'm just me, and there's one key thing that's in me, that's in all those different identities and all those different versions. That's just my awareness or my consciousness, right? So I just am. And this hasn't really been, self-doubt kind of been the surface topic of this, but I wanted to go deeper into the old frequency because it's something I've really been thinking about, and the old version of yourself. And you need to stop being afraid of that, bro. And one thing I even did is I watched some old YouTubers, but I was just aware about the thoughts, and I kind of didn't run from it, and I just felt it. You need to feel those, you need to process those things, and you need to become aware of what's leading your life. Because like Carl Jung says, I've said this in another YouTube video, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. So if you have these unconscious beliefs you don't even know to reprogram, because awareness is the first step. If you're not aware even about them, you're never going to know why you're continuous in these negative cycles, or this keeps happening in your life, and why you're manifesting this. Because manifestation happens in the good and the bad. You manifest everything in your life. You manifest the good things and the bad things. Not to say that everything is in your control, because it isn't. Reality also has a lot of external factors, but the external on a majority basis is just a reflection of the internal. The way you experience things is a reflection on your internal, because nothing is truly bad. Everything is really good, unless you perceive it to be bad, because your judgment of things is what actually makes it anything bad. There is no problems, it's just your opinion of it. Of course, there's some things in life which are kind of like death, you know. It's not a nice thing, but you can remove the fear of death. You can be accepting, you can deal with it a lot better. And one thing, I mean, I mentioned it before, like when we think when we become this 10k 100k a month version of ourselves, we're gonna have no problems, we're not gonna have any adversity, but it really is just the ego trying to trick us. And that's why how the old frequency works, it also uses a technique called perfectionism. It's gonna try and make you strive for perfection when you do, it knows you're not gonna reach perfection. So when you do realize you're not being perfect, you're gonna feel guilt, you're gonna feel disappointment, and that's how it attaches itself back to you. And it thinks like, oh, when I reach 10k I'm gonna have no problems. When you do reach 10k and then you still have problems, you're like, oh, what the fuck, I'm not on the right frequency. Or like when you actually are on the 10k month frequency and you still have adversity and you're like, oh, I'm not on the right frequency. But it's not really about that. It's the fact that you get better at dealing with the problems. As I said, there is no problems. It's just life was always going to have adversity. It's just how you navigate it. You're just better at navigating it. But yeah, learn to love the process, learn to love the journey of self-doubt, and even with failure, just become grateful for it. Everything is a lesson and an opportunity. Every time you feel that self-doubt, view it as an opportunity for you to display your higher self. And I understand it means you're making progress and you're making fucking sick moves, bro. You're crushing it, you're killing it. Remind yourself, it's just, you can literally just tell yourself, like the old frequency telling you, bro, you're killing it. It just doesn't know how to express it. So yeah, keep killing it, keep becoming aware, keep just being the best version of yourself and being you. Allow yourself to be you and allow others to be the same. And have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.